Wisconsin Political Action Committee, www.defendingwisconsin.org. The coverage today, I do apologize, the volume may be a little down, so you may want to turn your speakers all the way up. But it's of the election committee's hearing today where they voted, all the Democrats voted no, all the Republicans voted yes, and unfortunately it passed to include several provisions into Assembly Bill 7 to further disenfranchise voters. Now, I don't have the sheet with all of them with me. I had loaned that out to someone else. But you know, there's a lot of scary provisions in here. I'll just name a few. One, they don't allow the Government Accountability Board to register special registration deputies anymore in this bill. Another one involves the UW system and posting addresses on WISC cards. Now the problem with this would be if you post address on the WISC cards, those are also the access to the dorms, and so if the students lose or get them stolen, which happens very frequently in the UW population, then they would be open to potential theft in their dormitory. The other thing about it is, now the most clear comparison to disenfranchisement, the most clear way that this bill disenfranchises people, even outside of having to go to a DMV, where in a lot of rural areas you don't have DMVs, because the only proof of identification that would be acceptable would be a driver's license or a permit, which, as some of the representatives have mentioned, would turn it into a poll tax, because a lot of people won't know that they can get these for free. On top of that, you need a birth certificate in order to get an ID, but sometimes you need an ID in order to get a copy of your birth certificate. So this is clear disenfranchisement. But even above that, even above all of that, they want to move the spring primary, which is normally held in September, to August. And on top of that, they want to make the residency requirements 28 days instead of 10 days. Now, what this would do is, one, for homeless people who move from place to place quite frequently and district to district quite frequently, they would not be able to claim any sort of address and would not be able to vote in local elections. But on top of that, think about the students. The students are never in. The students who live in Madison for 1 to 4 years, I mean, it's just fact that every single student who lives here in dormitories and university housing is set to live here or planning to live here for 1 to 4 years, depending upon what year they're in, and sometimes even longer. They would not be, if they're not there for 28 days, which they would not be by the time this August primary would go, they couldn't vote. And so every single student from out of state would be unable to vote with this legislation. Every single one. That is clear disenfranchisement of the student population, and as Grothman said on Sly in the Morning today, it will help the Republicans get more votes, and it will help them win more elections. That's the true thing behind this voter ID bill. It's not just about showing ID. It's about what forms of ID are required. It's about what other things that are being suggested that further disenfranchises voters. And so this is really serious here. We have Republican Representative Pridemore saying something that I can agree with him on. He's kind of a cocky little guy. You know, he had a very smirky attitude, and you know, I don't really like him. I hadn't dealt with him before, but you can tell he's a shady character. But regardless, he did say something we can agree on. He said that we cannot trust the GAB to be nonpartisan, and that is on here. So that's even more reason. So now the Republicans and the Democrats are both saying that we need independent investigations, because obviously if we can't trust the Government Accountability Board to be nonpartisan, we need further investigations. Here's some footage. Representative Kelda Helen Roy speaking, and Representative Kessler speaking, and Representative Pridemore talking about how we can't trust the GAB. Jeremy Ryan reporting from Defending Wisconsin Political Action Committee, www.defendingwisconsin.org.
Stone. Here. Pridemore. Here. Winiger. Here. Royce. Kessler. Here. Zamarippa.
Here.
As you know, we had public hearing on AB 7 last week.
I'd like to move the introduction of NRES 0093/2 as a committee amendment. Second. Very strong.
Good, Dan, have you heard?
Sure, go ahead.
First, I want to strongly object to the short notice we've gotten on this hearing. I just think this is absolutely stepping on the rights of the minority party. To first and give us notice on Friday that a substitute amendment is coming in, and then expecting us to be able to draft amendments to the substitute amendment and be heard is absolutely outrageous, especially if a 24-hour rule is being enforced. We don't have an opportunity to even present amendments here, and we certainly don't have an opportunity to even reflect and go over this bill to the degree that I think we should. I'm truly disappointed in you, Mr. Chairman, because I did not expect you to be quite as partisan as some of the other members on your side. But to end up walking over the rights of the minority party the way you are doing today, in my opinion, is absolutely outrageous. First, I don't know how to describe it except this poll tax bill is literally designed to be one to set aside a long tradition Wisconsin has had of free and fair voting practices. And we don't even have the opportunity to see what is perceived to be the amendment that the majority party is putting through without on such short notice. I can't think of anything more undemocratic than what's happening in pushing this so fast. There are so many changes that are made here, so many radical changes, even radical changes different from the original bill that was introduced. I just think this is absolutely out.
Thank you. I guess it's really all about local control. I mean, all the votes and everything goes through the clerk's office. So why not give the clerk then the ability to register these people? And I see no, I actually see a cleaner process and a flat process that allows the clerk to be more in touch with people that are registering voters. But rather than a Madison government bureaucracy making those decisions.
But the clerk can do that right now. And in fact, currently, the clerks or the Board of Election Commissioners can revoke appointments, even those ones made by the DAB. So I guess, right now we have a system where you can go to your local clerk, you can go to the GAB, you can go to the Board of Election Commissioners, and so long as you do the training and you comply, you can help register voters. And if there's a problem, any one of those folks can say, hey, no, you don't get to do that anymore, and revoke your status. Now what we're doing is basically saying, you get one kick of the can, you go to your municipal clerk, and if they don't get the okay, then you don't get to register voters in that area, and they can pick and choose. And because our clerks are partisan at the municipal level, at the local level, and county level, that to me seems to be a little bit problematic, because GAB is sort of a safeguard. So I guess I don't know why we would just take away that power.
My experience is that, again, the clerks do a better job at this because they're most closely tuned with their municipalities, their local governments. They've done a better job, as has been demonstrated to me in my 6 or 7 years of being a poll observer and watching elections, than any other government agency that's been involved in the process. And I feel very comfortable with them, whether they're appointed or whether they're elected as a partisan office, that they have a better handle on who these people are and whether they're qualified to do the job.
So you're comfortable with politicizing the registration process?
No, this is not politicizing it at all. As a matter of fact, you could argue just the opposite, that the Government Accountability Board is potentially politicizing it as well.
But they're the non-partisan agency.
Well,
and the clerks are the partisan.
That's an opinion. That's an opinion at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I think it's a little bit sad that we're considering a that would not just disenfranchise voters, hundreds of thousands of voters, by making it more difficult, more onerous, and more expensive for them to exercise their right to vote. We don't require photo ID to exercise your freedom of religion, or to exercise your freedom of speech, or your right to peaceably assemble. So I guess if you want to do it in the Capitol these days, being a court order that doesn't do that. But the point is that there's an election today, and we're going to have 3 new colleagues going into the assembly. And people are in 3 different areas of the state today casting their ballots under a system that not only is it a good functioning system, it's a model. It's a model for the rest of the country. We have some of the highest voter turnout and civic engagement of any state in the nation. And that's, you know, maybe it's because we're better people here in Wisconsin, maybe it's, you know, maybe it's in the cheese, I don't know. But we should be showing other states how to do it, not chasing after some of these other states that have very low engagement. I mean, do we really want to have a more restrictive system than Mississippi, than Indiana, than Alabama? Is that really the direction that we want to go? As my colleague, Representative Zamaripa, said, you know, we're a swing state, and it's not like having people vote just benefits Democrats, because Republicans now control state government. You know, you control the Senate and the Assembly, and you have a governor, and you just won the Supreme Court race, and you've got the majority in the Supreme Court. So allowing people to vote and making it easy for people to vote doesn't mean that you have just Democrats in government. It means that you have a lot of people that care about the direction of our state, and I think that's a really good thing. And I'm not going to feel any worse about getting our 3 new colleagues because, you know, they were voting under a system that didn't require people to take a lot of extra time and energy to exercise their constitutional right. I don't think it takes anything away from their victory or our victory that people were able to say, you know what, I remember that person knocking on my door, and I've never voted before, but I think I'm going to go down there because I can register on the same day. I think those things are good. And we need them to preserve democracy. We only function when our population is engaged and they feel like they have a voice. And I just feel like we're taking a big step backwards today, particularly at a time when we hear about Wisconsin's, you know, tremendous fiscal challenges, and we are contemplating cutting almost $1 billion from education, cutting money from every program that people need. Programs that are going to hurt our economic recovery are being cut, and yet we're preparing to spend untold, unknown millions of dollars trying to chase a problem that really hasn't been demonstrated. So for that reason, I'm going to be voting no instead.
Clerk, take roll.
Passage?
On passage. Passage of AB 7 is amended.
Talcott.
Yes.
Bernier.
Yes.
Stone.
Aye.
Pridemore.
Aye.
Weiniger. Aye. Royce.
No.
Kessler.
No.
Zamaripa.
No.
Motion passes 5-3.
Well, thank you all for being here, and I look forward to working with you down the road.
Did Al write this legislation?
Disenfranchise us some more, we'll show you out the door.
We have our own group of fascists who